This is At Face Value.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Here we go again, episode 19 of At Face Value. I'm Brian.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're so excited to have you back for another week. It was a big week last week. America has spoken, and they have selected through the committee the first 12 teams of the playoff.
Yep.
And that it's already gone to complete shambles. So
yeah, it's I guess they're picking again tomorrow. Is there another show tomorrow?
There is, so, yeah. I think it's every Tuesday now.
They're doing
up
every
until
Tuesday.
up until the end. So, which I mean, I don't know.
Again, this is just a talking point, but yeah, there's a bunch of shakeups for sure. A lot more questions than answers after this weekend for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think every week it's just going to be the same up until they have the final one. To be honest, because God. Yeah, it was. There were some crazy upsets. Some teams that didn't show up to play.
Some teams that definitely did show up to play.
I guess.
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking about the game that you went to, but I was thinking more like Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss showed up to play.
I mean, yeah. Which we'll get into that. I mean, going over our picks and stuff. I mean, we both had Ole Miss.
Yeah. No, I picked Georgia.
Did you really?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We both picked LSU for sure, and look where that got us.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
So what do we know?
I know. I was talking to a buddy of mine because it was Nathan. He's one of the ones that was up at the top, and he's like, "Dude," he's like, "My picks have been going absolutely downhill the last 2 weeks." I was like, "Dude," I was like, "So have mine." Like, it's just been, but the last couple weeks, like, dude, the last 10 games we picked have been like pretty, like even. Like it's been kind of crazy. So. Been a lot of good matchups.
And with that, I need to update the standings this weekend. I was in no shape to update standings yesterday or the day before or the day before. So in Baton Rouge, tailgating and having some adult beverages and stuff. So
well, and then that plus all the travel and everything. Like, dude, like just traveling that far, like it gets exhausting.
Well, dude, and I've made that trip. Gosh. I can't even count how many times. I don't know how many times I've made that trip. It's about a 5.5 to 6 hour drive from where we live. And last year was the first year we made it with my son, who was 1 at the time. Now he's 2, and I have another one. And dude, that makes it so it's like moving.
So y'all took both of them?
Yeah.
Oof.
It's like moving, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It makes everything more difficult. But granted, we leave super early in the morning, so they wake up and they're in Baton Rouge, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
But just dragging them along, like my son, like the whole time he wanted to see Mike the Tiger. We go see Mike the Tiger. Well, we get him in his little stroller, and obviously parking on campus is awful. So we have to walk all the way across campus. He's in his little wagon thing. And by the time we get to Mike the Tiger, his head is just drooped down, passed out with a chicken nugget in his hand. And we're like, God, it was right around his nap time as well. Yeah. So like, dude, do we wake this kid up? And so we go to Mike the Tiger. He's just lounging out there. He's not really doing much. Mike was. And so we turn around and he wakes up after we leave and go back towards campus to a tailgate where some of my family was at. And he says, "Where's Mike?"
Oh,
I'm like, dude, you were literally passed out, guy. But no, it was a good time. It was a little rainy, but it ended up being a good time. But
so did the kids go to the game and everything?
No.
Oh, okay. No. I was gonna say, I was like, man, that makes for a late
night.
We
ended up not going to the game. It started it was starting to rain. It was raining off and on all day.
Yeah, I saw at one point it was pouring down a little bit. So
and on the drive home it poured down the whole way pretty much. But no, we ended up not going to the game because of the weather. We just decided to go back to my aunt and uncle's house and cook and watch the game on TV, which that turned out to be a very good decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely would not have been worth your time at the end of it all. So
not even a little bit.
That's still cool, man. That's still one of my things is being able to go to Baton Rouge and just be able to see the whole, because I mean obviously the game's a big part of it, but it's just the whole experience around it too,
dude. And it's the build up to it. It's even if the game is awful, it was the build up, the fun throughout the day, the eating, the good food, the drinking, partying with the people from all over, from different backgrounds, races, political views. It don't matter. You're just
No,
partying for
yeah.
LSU, and it's just a lot of fun. And there were even Bama fans walking around everywhere, and like it was all fun, man. That they would join in and have a few beers with us and move on to the next one. But no, one day you'll have to come out with us.
Absolutely.
We'll probably go next year. Obviously, I don't know if they. From my understanding, it was going to be where you flip schedules, like you play all your home games this year, and then those home games turn into away games, and the away games turn into home games. But
Yeah.
supposedly they're having brand new schedule next year. Like they're not.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And that's gonna be like an every year thing.
I have no idea. I don't think they've come up with a plan yet.
Interesting.
Because I was gonna say you should come to A&M weekend.
That's what I was
because that's what we've done for the past 12 years. Like we'll go to Baton Rouge, we'll go to the LSU A&M game one year, and then the other year we go to LSU Bama. But now it's gonna just kind of figure out the weekends we have to go.
Yeah, for sure. No, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I do wonder about like the scheduling and all that, just because like you want to, like you don't want it to go like 2 years where like some teams get just like a cake schedule. Like I almost feel like you'd be better off making like a different schedule every year to where, everybody's maybe this year you get like a less of a difficult schedule, and the next year, you play more of the better teams. But
yeah, but dude, like we talk about a lot with like scheduling, where they like some of these non-conference schedulings or teams are getting scheduled like 10 years in advance. Like having Vanderbilt on your schedule this year is a lot different than having Vanderbilt on your schedule in previous years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with South Carolina.
Yeah,
like that's a different beast. Like, and it varies year to year, right?
Yeah,
like 10 years ago, if you had Florida on your schedule, you're like, gosh. It's probably not a good thing. And now you're like, oh, please line them up next to us.
Roll. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why it's hard to kind of. I mean, you're always going to have your like powerhouses for the most part. Like Texas is going to be good, Georgia's going to be good, LSU is going to be pretty good, Bama's going to be pretty good, But Tennessee, like they've had down years for a while, and now they're kind of on the up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to,
Yeah, but like, what's their scheduling been like? Because like before they were in the SEC East, which was lower of the two divisions, and then even this year, like they got like a pretty easy schedule.
I mean,
so
did they?
I mean, like who have they played so far? I mean, their only losses to Arkansas. I mean, they beat Bama.
They have Georgia. They're playing Georgia for sure.
So I mean, so that's two.
I mean, Florida's a rivalry game for them. Florida's not good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And so really, like they got Georgia, and they got Bama, and Bama is even down-ish this year.
They're down.
Better than what they thought they were.
They're
but
not.
I mean, yeah, but I think they're better than what you thought they were going to be.
No. Dude, Bama's not a good dude. South Florida was able to stop Milroe from running. Like every team that they played have stopped him from running. How many teams has he ran the ball against like that?
Well, just one. Now.
Yeah, exactly. And the dude missed 2 wide open touchdowns. He can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like he overthrew Ryan Williams for like a 60-yard touchdown. He's awful. Like you knew what he was gonna. Like, we'll get into that, dude. Like it was just so infuriating to see that. Like I think that had more to do with LSU's incompetencies and Alabama being good.
Yeah, but what? So like, but that's that's back-to-back games though. So like,
absolutely, that's a problem.
So like, what do you think? Do you think it's a game planning thing, or like, what do you think it is? I mean,
honestly, I think LSU doesn't have the talent on the back end and on the defensive side of the ball to compete.
Yeah.
Like they're just not good. Like and we knew that going into the season. Like depth is not good. Number one, depth is awful. Like the same guys are playing 80 snaps a game. Like they're not coming off the field on defense.
True, yeah.
And just overall the talent, like the defensive backs and the safeties, like that's not like LSU. Like the talent, like if you literally put them on paper, that's not like a traditional LSU defense. And a lot of it is down to, and this is on Brian Kelly, but Brian Kelly, when he first got in there, he let Corey Raymond go to Florida. Mm-hmm. The godfather of DBU went to Florida.
Right.
Let him walk. And some other recruiting coordinator, Brian Polian, came in and did an awful job and started recruiting these guys who just don't have the makeup of like a Morris Claiborne, Derek Stingley, like all these names that you think about when you think of LSU. And so that had a big part of it. And same thing with Frank Wilson. He was at UTSA for a while. And I mean, he had to go like get his toes wet in the head coaching realm. Bo Davis is now at LSU too. So the recruits are coming at LSU. Like they're gonna have dudes again, but right now they're just not good. They're not good enough for that.
Right.
They played up like whenever they were like fresh earlier in the season. Like once they started to like gel a little bit when they played Arkansas, like they were playing really good, but they're just not that good.
And well, that's the part that just kind of surprised me was like because we talked about it, like they were playing way better. The defense was playing way better, and then it was all the way up until the third quarter of Texas A&M, and then all of a sudden everything. It just seems like everything's just kind of changed. Like it's.
Yeah, and again, the week before against Arkansas, Taylon Green, like they were able to shut him down. Like he was not able to run the ball at all. And again, I'm curious to see kind of or what the variable is where they're playing 80 snaps a game. How much fatigue is just going on?
Yeah,
like they're playing every snap of every game.
We're not
like it has
10 games in the
yeah,
season.
It has to catch up at some point if you have zero depth.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have depth, but they're true freshmen that aren't ready to play in the SEC.
Yeah,
and over the next few years, I really do think that Brian Kelly has a really good recruiting class coming in. DJ Pickett at corner. He's the number one corner in the country coming. A few safeties that are supposed to be really good. I mean, I hope this... Like, it was a big recruiting weekend for LSU, too, this weekend, to watch that all unfold. But hopefully this didn't do that. And then, obviously, the number one player in the country, Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
Again, there's rumors that Michigan are trying to get like a 10-figure or an 8-figure deal.
They're going to do anything at this point.
For sure. But again, that goes to say, like, do you want to play quarterback at Michigan?
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Because LSU is going to give him a good offer. Like, no doubt about it. Like, he's going to get paid really well at LSU if he goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the history of Michigan quarterbacks, I mean, obviously you have Tom Brady, but I mean, like, who else has really, come out of Michigan and just been like a great player, throughout college and beyond? I mean, J.J. McCarthy was kind of like the one where he actually had a really good preseason, so I was almost interested to see like how he was going to do this year as a rookie.
Yeah.
And then obviously he got injured, so he's not playing this year. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah.
Did Chad Pennington go to Michigan?
Chad Pennington,
He wasn't very good, but
I was going to say he was a terrible quarterback, but I don't remember where he went to. Speaking of terrible quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa. But anyway.
But at the end of the day, if LSU can hold down these recruiting classes, they're going to be good. And again, Brian Kelly's taking a lot of heat, which he should. Like, that's all on him. There's no, like, you have to get your team ready. You have to, like, it all comes back down to the head coach. But
well, and especially, like, you got College game day in town. It's a 6:30.
Yeah.
It's a night game at home. Like, those are games like you should naturally be hyped for. And yeah, and like it just seemed like they never really could get control of the game.
And the big thing about it too is it was off a bye, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You have what are you doing for 2 weeks? you know,
and that's the thing is like for 2 weeks we are going to stop Jalen Milroe from running the ball because we know that we can stop whatever he's doing.
Yeah, because you know he's not throwing the ball.
Because more than likely you're going to give up a big play at some point to Ryan Williams. At some point, Jam Miller's going to have a big play here and there, and you let those those are going to happen, but you can't let Jalen Milroe beat you with his feet, and that's exactly.
And vice versa. I mean, I know Caden Durham had a big run at the beginning of the game. I think he had a 45-yard run down to the 5-yard line where I was joking with my family. I was like, we had another drive that they got downed at the 5-yard line, and I said on first down, just kick the field goal. Just kick the field goal on first down. And and they ran the ball, and then the next play pick in the end zone.
Oh my god!
I'm like, dude, like that like we got down to the 5 3 times and had 3 points out of it. Like that's been kind of a trend all year too, and that's a direct correlation to not being able to run the football, because LSU cannot run the football.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so if you know you're going to throw on first down every single time, then the defensive line can just pin their ears back and go after the quarterback.
For
like
sure.
there's no. You don't have to.
Your running game is essentially screens and underneath passes. Like
yeah. you don't have to maintain like gap awareness at all. Like you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
It's crazy, but no, it's just one of those things. And again, it falls on Brian Kelly, but I still do trust Brian Kelly's. The direction the team is going and the program is going from when Ed Ogeron left is still in the right direction.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. I just don't think they're very good. They're not talented enough on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously can't run the ball. But the troops are coming if they can keep the class together for sure.
Yeah,
the talent, because talent matters. It really does.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you have to have dudes.
Absolutely.
Like you can be a very well coached team and all this, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to win a championship, which that's the expectation at LSU, like you have to have the dudes.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as history has shown, LSU's going to find the guys. Like they'll be fine over time. It's just like you said, it comes a lot down to just the coaching aspect of it too. Is just getting your guys ready and getting them in the right spot, getting the right scheme. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is like, you know, they have a new defensive coordinator first year. You know, it's like you always try to give your guys a year to figure everything out, and then usually the second year is when things are a lot better. So,
and another thing, like, and again, it's not an excuse because everybody goes through, but like, if you go look at the injury report at the beginning of the week, LSU had 15 players out, and like out of those, I think it was like 8 starters.
Yeah. So
Bama had 2 on the whole injury list.
Wow.
For the whole season. So injuries have been a problem too, which again it happens. But that's where depth comes in. You have to have some good depth.
Yeah,
and LSU does not.
Yeah, somebody can just step up and help. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see, man. But it was a good weekend overall. Thought there's other ones. You know, one of the biggest ones, you know, Texas came out, absolutely rolled Florida, which was expected. I mean, Florida had been playing better, but I mean, Texas being the better team and coming off a bye.
Dude, I thought that game was in Florida.
No, it was in Austin.
So Texas has played 2 road SEC games so far. Mississippi State and Vandy. That's it.
No, Mississippi State was in Austin.
Then where did they only have 1 away game so far?
So it was at Vanderbilt. Yeah.
It's November. How was that possible?
Well, because one of their road games was the Red River rivalry.
Oh.
So, and it alternates. So it's Texas
Theirs
at home.
does. Yeah, theirs does.
Oklahoma on the road, Georgia at home, Vanderbilt on the road, and now Florida at home, then Arkansas on the road, Kentucky at home, and then at A&M to end it. So,
dude.
Yeah, so it just alternates. So, I mean, it's nice to start your season like that, but it's also tough because now 2 of your last 3 games are on the road, and they're both rivalry games. So it'd be kind of interesting.
I mean,
it does.
I know people have been talking about being worried about Arkansas as Texas fans.
Well,
Don't be. It's
one of the biggest things I've seen is that the big difference is that it's an 11 a.m. game, so the inbreds don't have all day to drink their beer and get themselves hyped for a game at 6:30. I was playing 11 o'clock in the morning. But dude, and honestly, like the reason that Texas fans are worried is just because of history. Because like, you know, they were Southwest Conference rivals way back in the day. But even when Texas was in the Big 12, they would play Arkansas fairly often, and Arkansas always gave them fits.
But dude, Arkansas, I think out of the last 10 games that Arkansas played LSU, like 8 out of the last 10 have been decided by 3 points or less, and LSU, who's not very good, obviously, when it went to their house, and destroyed them. Like,
no, I agree.
Texas should dog walk them.
Well, and I think more
even if it's a, in quotations, rivalry game.
I think more of the concern was prior to Saturday that Texas hadn't been playing great football, and I will say, you know, you might have people that don't agree, but I thought Ewers looked a lot better on Saturday. He looked like he was a little more settled in. I think he just got like a little bit of the yips, which I know we've talked about, but it's almost like he's still worried about getting hurt. But
yeah, I think Ewers gave the Monstar sucking out all the juju out of the talent out of him, gave it to Nussmeier, because Nussmeier is now the one with happy feet, doesn't set his feet, scared in the pocket. So I think he got his talent back.
Yeah, maybe. So we'll see over the next few weeks. I mean, because they got Arkansas, which they should win that one. Then they got Kentucky at home, should be fine there.
Yes.
And then obviously going to Aggie, College game day will be in College Station. Like it'll be the most hyped game.
Dude,
ever.
yeah, that one's going to be amazing to watch.
Yeah, like I mean, it's gonna.
I'm not a fan of either team, but we should go to a party or throw something for that. That's gonna be fun,
dude.
man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Like just the atmosphere.
And that's like Thanksgiving weekend, right?
It's the Saturday after,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty wild. So, yeah, man. But so Texas, I mean, Texas played well, did what they're supposed to. Ohio State rolled. And then obviously the big upset, first big upset of the weekend was Georgia Tech beating Miami.
Dude, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one where it was kind of, not that you necessarily saw it coming, but there was definitely always the potential just because of the way Miami had been playing. It was almost like they'd been playing with house money. The last several weeks, and Haynes King coming back after a 2-game absence, and man, he beat him with his feet. Honestly, like he did a really good job running the ball.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, exactly. So, he had 32 yards passing. He was 6 for 6, 32 yards passing,
100% completion percentage.
Yeah,
That's great.
And 20 carries for 93 yards. So Georgia Tech ran for 271 yards as a team. And threw for 99 yards.
And won.
And won the game, 28-23. So
yeah, I think Cam Ward's Heisman stock just took a big tumble. I think obviously it's Dylan Gabriel's to lose.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why he doesn't win it at this point. People still give the Travis Hunter argument, but I mean, I think Dylan Gabriel's playing well, and then obviously Oregon being number 1 helps as well. So, yeah, I think it would take them losing to a not great team for him to not actually win it.
I think so too. I want to say, I think did he set the NCAA record for touchdowns this past weekend?
He might have, dude. He's in his 12th year of college.
Yeah, he's been there forever. I think a record was set this weekend for that, if I'm not mistaken. Who did they even play? Who did Oregon play?
Maryland,
Oh,
139-18. Yeah, he actually threw to a lineman too. See, where's it at? Yeah, I gave him 179 total touchdowns. So that's passing and rushing, which passed Case Keenum, who was also in college for a decade. So
I think that's a ticket to set records.
Yeah.
Stay there for 12 years.
Well, dude,
eventually.
Dude, I mean, look at it. Like, if you look at the all-time wins record, Colt McCoy had the all-time win record. He was a quarterback for Texas for 4 years. And then Kellen Moore beat his record, and he played at Boise State for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And then Case Keenum, he broke all the passing records. Well, he played at Houston for 7 years.
Yeah.
And now Dylan Gabriel, he's in his 7th year. He's breaking records. Like, so.
He might still have his COVID year.
Dude, he honestly might, dude. Like, yeah, dude, it's kind of crazy though. So
yeah,
but I mean, I guess if you're gonna take advantage of it, then go for it, dude. But
and get paid, yeah,
absolutely. But Indiana snuck by Michigan.
Yep.
Which I mean, I've mentioned it in like the chat, and I know we've talked about it. Like, good teams are allowed to have a bad week,
absolutely,
and still win. And so if you look, I know Indiana hasn't played a great team this year, and I'm definitely not saying like that gives them extra credit or whatever, but they have rolled everybody they've played. And they play Michigan, who still has a relevant defense
on the road.
Oh, no,
it was in Indiana. Sorry.
And then they win the game. So,
but one of those things too. I think that's I think that win means more, because if you go and look at Indiana's record against Michigan, I think they might have beaten Michigan 2 times prior to this weekend in their entire history.
Horrible. Yeah,
like, I'm serious, 2 times in their entire history. So this is their 3rd time to ever beat Michigan. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm probably mistaken, but that's a big weight off their shoulders too. It's just one of those things, like whenever you see those logos, those traditional powerhouses, like, and you're a team that typically isn't up there, like that's a big hurdle to overcome.
Wasn't this the one too that you said that the coach said like this game was his focus?
No, that was Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. That's right.
Illinois they had prepped all off season just for Michigan, and then they absolutely crapped their pants the next weekend. I think it was against Nebraska or somebody.
Oh, that's right. That's what you're saying. But so that's actually Indiana's first 10-win season in history.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to see. So and they actually jumped to number 5 in the AP poll.
And I think is it this weekend they play or is it Indiana and Ohio State?
No, it's next week.
Next
so
weekend.
they got a bye.
Yeah.
And then they go to Columbus.
Yeah.
So that'll be another big one. So, but they get a whole week to prepare for them to get ready. So
I mean, they should just do the exact same thing LSU did in their bye week, and they should be fine.
and they just sit at home and do absolutely nothing, I guess. So.
Well, I'm not going to touch on the LSU game again just because it's just got rolled. But if they bring a Tiger in the stadium again, and it wasn't even Mike.
Yeah, it was,
They literally, Carol Baskins or something from Florida brought over a freaking tiger. They brought it from Florida, freaking Carol freaking Baskins.
Carol Baskins.
Like, get that out of here, man. Don't do that again. That's just bad mojo, dude.
That was weird, dude. Like, that it wasn't even Mike. He was like, let's get just some other random tiger.
Well, the whole thing at LSU, again, I don't want to harp too much on LSU because this isn't an LSU podcast, but like the whole thing with Mike, whenever they have him in his habitat, they put a cage there, and if he wants to go in the thing, he can. And they brought it millions of times to him. He's like, "Nah, I ain't going in that. I ain't doing that." And so, like, all right, bet, just stay in there. Because, like, how are you supposed to coerce a tiger? Be like, "Hey, dude, like, you're not gonna get in there and like slap his butt and get him in. Like, you're not gonna hurt him like a cow."
Yeah.
So I guess they're just like, all right, we're just not bringing Mike. So they were called up Carol Baskins. Had
Tiger King, you got any
Yeah.
random tigers lying around? We can put.
God, dude, don't ever do that again. That was bad juju in the stadium.
There you go. So that's what we'll blame it on. We'll blame it on the governor of Louisiana.
His name's Omar is the tiger's name. Oh, don't ever bring Omar to the state of Louisiana ever
Omar,
again.
get your ass back to Florida.
Yeah, dude. Freaking hate that Carol
Oh
Baskins.
man, that's awesome, dude.
But yeah.
Anyways,
But another upset.
back to Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Indiana, if they keep it close against Ohio State, like even if they don't win the game, I think they're a shoe into the playoff. You got to.
Well, I think the problem is that they're not going to play in the Big Ten championship.
But that's fine. They have one loss.
Yeah, but
They have one loss. You can't leave a one-loss team out at this point.
yeah, though.
Because are you going to leave Miami out?
Well, yeah, but who else are you going to leave out? Like,
Some 2-loss, 3-loss teams.
man,
You can't leave Indiana out if their one loss is to Ohio State and it's a close game. You can't leave them out.
So right now,
That's like saying oh, Boise State's not in.
well, that's what I was going to say. So Boise State right now is number 13, which kicks Miami out because Miami's number 12.
Yeah, that's the AP though. That don't count.
But you see what I'm saying though? Like,
Yeah, Miami's gonna get in if they win. If they win the rest of their games, obviously.
yeah.
If they win the rest of their games, they're in the top 4.
Yeah, if you lose to the number 2 team in the nation and you don't lose another game, then I wonder what the tiebreaker would be then, because it'd be Ohio State. They have the one loss to Oregon. Penn State has a one loss to Ohio State, and then Indiana has a one loss to Ohio State.
We talked about the SEC possibly getting 4 teams in. The Big Ten might have 4 teams in.
Well, dude, did you see the possible? It's not going to come true now, but there was a possible scenario at one point where if like Florida had beat Texas, and like there was like a whole scenario of like if all these things happen, that there was potentially going to be like an 8-way tie for the first place in the SEC.
And I think the final thing, if that all happened, LSU would have played A&M for the SEC championship game.
Yeah. Which, dude, I know we've talked about it, but you're almost better just not playing in the SEC championship at this point. Like, all you're doing is giving up your first round bye, which, depending on how you look at it, is probably not the worst thing anyway.
The only way it's good is if, again, the scenario, it's very, very, very unlikely, but LSU can still make the SEC championship game. That's the only scenario where the SEC championship game is a good thing, because if LSU makes the SEC championship game and wins it, then they're in the playoff.
Yeah,
because that's their only route to the playoff now.
So if they're number 21 now, which they'll probably be pretty close in the poll.
Oh, dude, they're not. They don't have a good enough schedule. They're not going to even be. They probably won't even be top 20 by the end of the season.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying though. Like if somehow they had found a way to sneak in, like
there is a scenario where they can make the SEC championship game.
I think it would take a lot though.
Oh, like crazy. Like Alabama has to like lose to Auburn, and which can't happen.
Yeah, it
Like
definitely
they should have
can
beat them
happen.
last year.
Yeah,
And I feel like Auburn was probably worse last year.
yeah.
Like that's one of the crazy things. I think Georgia has to beat Tennessee, which can very well happen. But some crazy scenarios have to happen for it to happen, but it's not going
Crazier
to.
things have happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
Yeah.
only time will tell. But staying in the SEC, Ole Miss getting a thumping
Yeah.
on old Georgia, dude. Like
I called it, dude. Like,
I mean, that was the first time I've seen Georgia get beat like that in a while.
I mean, if the Georgia team that showed up was the same team that played Kentucky, Ole Miss is just better than Kentucky.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Defensively and offensively,
Well,
obviously.
And then, kind of what I said too over the weekend, it was like, honestly, if Texas doesn't give 3 possessions inside their own 30-yard line, like that's how the Texas game should have been too. Because the Texas defense played well enough to only give up 10 points. But then whenever you give up the ball at the 30, the 20, 25, and the 20, then obviously you're going to give up points on points on points.
I mean, yeah, but I can say the same thing about LSU and A&M.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's part of the that's part of the game. But yes, I agree with the statement. Yes, that's very true. But and that comes down to Georgia's offense not being very good either.
Yeah,
Like Carson Beck is not a good quarterback.
No, and yeah,
And I said that from the very beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I did not trust Carson Beck.
well, and
Because if they lose to Tennessee, they're done.
that's what's crazy too. So because that gives them 3 losses all in conference.
Yeah.
And then I mean they're out. Like there's no getting in with 3 loses. There's no getting in.
Like that's a potential playoff game right there.
Yeah. Well, because
Like even if Tennessee loses that game, they have 2 losses, they can still get into the playoff.
yeah,
But I mean they lost to Arkansas as well. That's not a good That's not a good look at all.
like
that's a bad loss.
If they lose to Georgia, it has to be close.
Yeah.
Like it can't be like a blowout because if they get blown out, like they'll drop to like 15, 16. They won't get back in.
And the thing about that game is it's at Georgia.
Yeah, so it's
So
tough,
you know
yeah.
Georgia's always plays well at home.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and then I mean, I'm sure there's some history behind him. I'm sure Kirby Smart always plays better after a loss. I'm sure there's some kind of history behind that. But but you're right though. I mean, I think that is definitely pretty much it's definitely a must win for Georgia. But then it'll have like playoff implications, absolutely. So, but Ole Miss looked good, dude. Like especially like when early, Jackson Dart goes out hurt.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, like what's about to happen here? And then
dude, I mean I was in Louisiana, so I could bet. I had Ole Miss money line.
yeah, and then like immediately, like
I was like, God,
was it first second drive? Like
I was like, God, this is not a good look.
Yeah,
because Georgia went out too, and they scored in their first possession. I was like,
Yeah.
oh God, this is bad.
Yeah, dude. Like, but that was kind of that, and that's why I picked Georgia, just because like one of the things that we always talk about, like coaches in big games, like Lane Kiffin is a terrible coach in big time games. But I mean, they did a great job on Saturday just showing up, and they just looked ready. So
I mean, I think we've touched on it on the podcast before, but this is by far Ole Miss's best team, like on paper, that they've ever fielded ever.
absolutely, yeah.
And they spent the money to do it for sure. But
Yeah.
this is like their year.
Yeah, it's a $20 million roster. I mean,
They literally did not show up for Kentucky against LSU. I mean, they led the game until they didn't. The only time they didn't lead the game was in overtime when LSU
when
won.
they lost at the end.
You know, so it's not like that's a very, very good Ole Miss team. Like on paper and defensively, offensively, they have weapons. Like Ole Miss is a good team. Like I don't see why people are dismissing that.
No, absolutely.
Because they're talking about LSU's win against Ole Miss wasn't very good. I mean, that was LSU was playing the best football of the season at that point.
Yeah.
They looked like they were a good football team, but I think Ole Miss they just lost the games where, I mean, if they don't lose to Kentucky, I mean they're probably obviously higher up in the polls, but can pretty much walk into the playoff.
Yeah, because they're number 10 right now. Like they're probably closer to number 5.
Yeah, they've won
5,
loss
6.
to LSU in overtime at night in
on the
Death
road,
Valley.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
where they were
So,
leading the whole game. You know, like
it's always what could have been.
yeah.
But and then just one more SEC game. Did you see the ending of Missouri and Oklahoma?
I didn't. I saw it on Twitter. Like the lead changes like in the last like 3 minutes of the game was like crazy.
Dude. So Missouri was up 16-9, and Oklahoma ties it, and then they take the lead, and Missouri ties it. So it's 23-23. Dude, there's like 15 seconds left in the game, and Jackson Arnold is like dropping back to pass, trying to make a play, and he fumbles. And Missouri scoops and scores to win the game 30-23, like in the last 10
Just
seconds of the
crazy.
game. That's just like the story of Oklahoma this year, dude. And that was without Brady Cook. So,
God.
like, Oklahoma's in shambles right now, dude. And they've got Brent Venables for another 5 years. And, like, dude, like, that, like, their defense is supposed to be their high point, and they just gave up 30 points to a bad offense. Like,
Well, yeah.
I mean, Missouri's not a good offense.
No,
man.
no,
Like,
they're not. They're not. I was gonna say it sounded like there was a scoop and score, obviously.
well, yeah, okay, they have 23 points on
Yeah.
offense, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, but a lot of back and forth. So yeah, just a tough one on that one. And then going to the ACC, dude, like it looks like SMU, as long as they keep playing, dude.
They're in the front. I mean, they don't have a conference loss.
Yeah, like they're rolling right. They're up to number 10. They were up to number 10 in the playoff poll. And they got Boston College this week,
Should be a dub.
and then they got Virginia on the road and then California at home.
I mean, I mean,
Yes, I mean they control their own destiny to
They
roll
should
into
win
the
those
ACC
three.
championship game.
they should win those three.
So, and then it's going to come down to Clemson or Miami, who's going to come out of that one. So,
Because Clemson has 2 losses, but they only have 1 conference loss. Yeah.
correct, yeah,
Because they
yeah.
lost to Georgia at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so they go to Pitt this week, which Pitt has kind of fallen off the last
Yes.
couple weeks. Then they have the Citadel, and then they have South Carolina at home, which is a big rivalry game.
I mean, and
So-
again, we talked about South Carolina, how good they can be.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's rivalry weekend too. Like that's another game that always has like crazy.
The last game of the season's rivalry weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
LSU has OU. That's so stupid.
Well, that's because they always played Aggie, and
I
then
know.
and now Aggie obviously has Texas back.
Yeah.
So it got taken away from them. So, well, they could have played Florida.
Yeah, that would have been
So what's the deal with that? Like,
what?
so like you said, like LSU, like Florida would probably be like the rivalry, but like I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Because like you always talk like about big rivalries, and like for like LSU, like I know we keep going back to LSU, but it just seems like they don't have just like a huge rival. Like it's just kind of
I mean,
like some decent ones. It's like Ole Miss is a decent rival, Florida's a decent rival. Like
Alabama.
yeah, but is that like historically a big rivalry?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Alabama obviously over the last 15 years under Nick Saban, like they've dominated the
it's been
series.
one-sided. Yeah,
But before Nick Saban got there, LSU would kick Alabama's teeth in every single weekend.
well, maybe that's the biggest thing. It's kind of like
people don't remember that.
yeah, I think it's kind of like the programs have kind of gone like in alternating. So I think that makes a difference too.
And another thing, LSU's also like their program, like over the last 30 years, like they haven't had any consistency whatsoever.
True.
Like they pop 1 year, win a national championship, and then are a 10-win team.
Yeah,
8 to 10 wins every year. Like
Yeah.
that's what LSU is. Like they haven't taken that next step to be the consistency. Like, and I don't think we'll ever see consistency like Alabama did over the last 15 years with the
No,
NIL
not
and,
anymore.
and transfer portal. That's never gonna. I don't think that's ever gonna happen ever again. But Georgia's been pretty consistent over the last 5 years.
yeah,
But LSU has never been like that consistent like juggernaut. They've had unbelievable teams that pop every 5, 6, 8 years.
yeah. But it's just not year over year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just who LSU is, I think.
True.
And honestly, I feel like that's how it's going to be from now on for teams. Like
yeah,
I don't see a team having sustained success like Alabama did ever again.
I mean, as far as national championships, yeah, but I mean, I think you'll have.
There are programs that would kill to have 10 wins every single year.
Yeah, well,
Like-
that's what I'm saying. It's like you'll still have a lot of programs that will have like 9, 10 wins every single year Because I'm just thinking about like your Texas, like your teams like that. They're gonna have just stupid money.
I mean,
just every year.
yeah.
Like you're always gonna be able to buy your roster.
But Texas has had that for a long time. But when was their last 10? Like they've had a 10-win season the last few years.
I do agree
like,
with that.
Because like in the mid 2010s, like they weren't a good football team. They didn't.
That's what
like,
I'm saying. But I'm talking about like with the NIL now.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like how it goes, like I feel like year over year now that they're able to like buy who they want.
Yeah.
And they finally have the coach that they needed.
But the thing is, though, is like there are a lot of other schools that can buy what they need to. Like if Ole Miss went out and spent $10 million and built a roster, like they're traditionally not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Traditionally, they're a punching bag.
True.
And they have a coach that, I mean, he builds a good offense, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, that could happen. Like if some donor comes in and says, hey, Dave Portnoy coming in saying, hey, here's $3-4 million to go throw. We need a quarterback at Michigan. Go put it on him.
Please.
Like
buy
that
me a
could
quarterback.
happen at Michigan State. That
Yeah.
could happen anywhere. You know.
Oregon. Who's
Yeah.
got unlimited money.
Yeah. So that's where like I don't know if we're gonna have a consistent like favorite for national champion every single year.
No, I don't think you'll have like a favorite anymore. I mean, but I'm just mean as far as contenders, like I think
Yeah.
you'll have a pretty consistent overall basis. Now,
Yeah.
every now and then you'll have your Indiana and you'll have your teams like that, SMUs that'll pop up
Yeah.
and contend. But I think
But SMU has money. You know what I mean? Like they have
True.
money.
Well, yeah, I mean, what they raise 144 million or something in a week
Yeah.
after they joined the ACC. Like, it's crazy.
So like they have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But will they? Like it just because you have, like I mentioned earlier, you have to have talent to contend. But I mean, you also have to put it together. Like it has to be a perfect balance of both.
For sure. Well, and what didn't help SMU either was that death penalty back in the 80s. Like they were a year over year powerhouse, and they got hit with that, and then it was 40 years until they were good again. So,
I mean, they were the only ones doing that for sure.
oh yeah, absolutely.
They were the only ones paying players.
The only,
Nick Saban didn't dip out of Alabama for nothing.
just like the Saints were the only ones that were
Oh yeah, bounty.
the bounty gate.
Absolutely.
But dude, that's what cracked me up.
I feel like all my teams are just like
yeah, dude,
cheaters, man.
bunch of freaking cheaters.
The Astros cheaters,
Yeah.
Saints cheaters.
Yeah, and then I have the Cowboys. They can't cheat. Like I think they
need to cheat,
They
dude.
need to cheat. They need something.
Dude, what happened to your boy? Is Hammy?
Yeah, dude, he gone. Well, he's done for the year. Which
Like for sure.
for sure, yeah. They
Oh,
actually said they interviewed him before Sunday, and he himself said he was surprised that they didn't put him on the IR. So yeah, he's gonna have surgery, but
He still gets his money.
oh yeah, dude, I'm
Dude,
telling you,
give me a cert. Like I would just be out.
dude, like I'm like I have a group chat with my brother and my uncle, and like all we've talked about is that Dak is officially in Deshaun Watson territory. He got his big contract, he got his guaranteed money. Nothing matters anymore. He has $231 million guaranteed. So what's the point of putting effort in? Like, dude, look at the way he's played year over year. He's at least put effort in. He just hasn't been a great quarterback. Now all of a sudden he has this huge contract. He's a totally different quarterback this year. And you can't go around saying like, oh, like blah, 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 roster. The roster is trash. I'll give you that. But the dude ain't helping himself either. So he's gone for the year. So now at this point, I'm rooting for draft position. They're currently tied for the third worst record in the NFL. Unfortunately, the Giants lost, so they're at 2-8 right now. So they're half a game behind the Panthers. So if you're a Cowboys fan out there, you need to root for L's, because if you ever want to be good again, you still got to start getting draft picks, because besides a couple bad ones here and there, the Cowboys are usually pretty good at drafting, at least. As long as they'll stop drafting defensive linemen out of Michigan. Like, oh my gosh, dude, it's horrendous. Mozzie Smith, they drafted him 2 years ago out of Michigan, defensive tackle. He is statistically the worst defensive tackle in the league. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. The last one they drafted for the defensive end, Taco Charlton out of Michigan, defensive end.
I remember
You
that.
know who they could have taken in that draft? TJ Watt.
TJ Watt.
They could have taken TJ Watt, but you know what they
JT.
said? Oh, TJ Watt doesn't fit our scheme. TJ Watt fits any scheme like dude. It makes absolutely no sense. And now, on top of everything else, now the Cowboys are missing touchdown passes because the sun's shining in your eyes. Cooper rushed through a pass to CD in the end zone, and he didn't catch it because he couldn't see it because there was a glare in his eyes.
Get some tint on that thing, dude.
Yeah, curtains, something. But anytime anybody talks about it, Jerry's ready to get people fired. Like that's all he wants to do. So I really think that Jerry's getting to the point where he's getting senile because he used to be able to talk his way out of things, and now he just argues and he just talks mess to the reporters. So
I saw, yeah, I heard like that radio interview that he had. He was like, he kind of went off on him.
Did you hear what he said though, dude? So he said they asked him about the sun, and he was like, every stadium's dealing with this. We know where the sun's at. Everybody in America knows where the sun's at. He goes, where's the moon? I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just crazy, man. Like,
that's awesome.
I just don't get it. But I mean, it is what it is. He's 82 years old, so I don't know how much longer we're gonna have, but it's
But isn't his son just stepping right in?
Yeah, but I feel like he has a little more head on his shoulders, or maybe it's just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see, man. I mean, like, if anything, it'd just be another 30 years of disasters.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys anymore.
That's fine.
Let's talk about the Big 12, dude. Is Colorado going to win the Big 12?
No.
Dude, they're tied for first place in the Big 12. They're in second place in the Big 12 right now.
BYU is going to win the Big 12.
I don't know, dude. BYU hasn't been playing great. BYU, did you see how they beat Utah?
They needed that field goal at the last minute. And Utah's like AD went off on the Big 12, got a big fine.
Yeah, dude. Well, because I mean, obviously I wasn't one of the guys, but there's a lot of Texas fans that they harped on the rigged
Big
12 officials or whatever. And dude, they absolutely allowed BYU to drive down the field.
I didn't see it. That was way too late.
There was a sack on the 1 yard line, on BYU's own 1 yard line, and they called a random holding downfield. Then there was a random another penalty later down the field that pretty much allowed them to run the last however many minutes off the clock and kick the field goal to win the game.
Really?
Yeah, dude. That's why the AD came out. And said all that.
Yeah, he pretty much was.
He was fired up because Utah 100% should have won that game.
Yeah.
Which helped me in my pick'ems at least.
Me too.
But I thought you picked Utah. I think you picked Utah.
I picked BYU for sure. I picked BYU because my reasoning was because BYU and Utah, their big advantage is playing in altitude.
Oh, yeah, and they're playing the same place.
Yeah. I picked BYU.
I'm going to check the tape.
Yeah. Check the tape, dude. I picked BYU.
Yeah, but Colorado, dude, they went down 13-0 early against Tech in Lubbock, and they end up coming back winning 41-27. So
I did take the over on that.
I don't know, dude. I think they got a shot.
Who do they have left?
They're 5-1 because Iowa State lost again too.
I saw that.
So they got Colorado at home.
Wait, what?
I mean, sorry, they got Utah at home.
Utah at home.
Then they go to Kansas, and then they have Oklahoma State at home.
Winnable.
So all three are winnable.
Kansas won a big game this weekend. Is that who beat Iowa State? That's who beat Iowa State. Yeah,
that was a good win for them.
Yeah, that's a kind of definitely an upset.
Because
Iowa State's definitely taking a tumble.
Oh yeah, dude, they fell off fast. That was wild.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's 0-7 in conference.
That's insane.
I think it's the end of Mike Gundy, dude.
Dude, that was my Big 12 winner.
Last place.
They're not. They haven't won a game.
No, they are 3-7.
Dude, what's Ollie Gordon doing?
Not playing apparently. Dude, he has 714 yards in 10 games.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't.
So
take
against
that
TCU, he had 121 yards.
Yeah, the one game I picked him under.
Arizona State, he had 25 yards. Yeah, he's pretty much had 2 big games.
That's crazy.
Dude, they're not even. Oh man, they got blown out 38-13 at TCU, who's bad. Bad.
God.
Actually, TCU's they're winning now. They're 4-3 in conference. So, Dude, so right now in the Big 12, it's exactly what we said it was going to be. It's BYU 6-0, Colorado's 5-1, and then Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, and West Virginia are all 4-2, and then TCU and Tech are 4-3. So, dude,
So nuts.
So the next 4 weeks are going to be insane in the Big 12, dude. But
God.
and then Cam Rising's going to take his next red shirt, and he's going to be back for season 8 next year to try and lead Utah.
I mean, I'm picking them to win it next year. I mean, jeez.
That's crazy.
That's
man.
so
But,
crazy.
yeah, so there's a lot of crazy stuff still going on, dude. But yeah, man. Like again, like we kind of said, it was kind of a down weekend, and there ended up being some pretty good games for the most part. Oh,
Definitely playoff implications.
and
For
obviously
sure.
some letdowns. Absolutely. And yeah, obviously the big two, it was LSU. Well, LSU losing was a big one. Georgia, obviously, and then Miami. Like those were the big two,
Yeah.
for sure. So, yeah,
It'll
man.
be interesting to see what the committee does now. Now that Miami has a loss, seeing where they put Georgia is going to be big. Like, do you bounce them out of the top 12? I don't think they do. I think they deserve to be out of the top 12, but
Yeah, what's their second loss?
yeah.
Well, I know the AP dropped them to 11.
So they're going to be flirting around that area.
So they'll
And
be
because
around
it's
there.
Georgia, they'll keep them in.
They'll find a way to keep them in. But do like,
But
so-
was A&M in the A&M was like the first team out. A&M, I think you have to put A&M in over Georgia.
why?
Like because A&M only has one loss.
True. Oh, like right now you would?
Yeah, not at the end,
Yeah.
but like right now, like as we like tomorrow when they come out with the new ranking,
Yeah.
like I think A&M has to go in there over Georgia, in my opinion.
No, I mean I don't disagree with that. Just because they have a better record, and I mean they have the quality wins. So I mean I don't see why not.
I mean, they have one quality win.
Well, they have a quality win, yeah. And it's looking less quality now, but
because what's Georgia's quality win? Texas. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, they did beat Clemson at the beginning of the season too.
Yeah.
If you want to count that as a quality win, so there might be a case for Georgia to like be at the back end of that.
yeah. Well, they have Tennessee this week, so that's going to tell a whole lot.
Oh yeah,
Because if they win that one, then obviously like they're right back in it
for sure.
And then they have Massachusetts and Georgia Tech left.
I mean,
So-
Georgia don't sleep on Georgia Tech now. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but it's at home though, so I mean I think they'll be all right
Yeah.
with that one. Georgia Tech's just not consistent enough. And you better watch out for Mass too. You never know. So
God. Yeah, like A&M on a bye, New Mexico State this
Yeah.
week. Like, what? Why are we playing cupcake games still?
yeah. Well, and dude, that was kind of what we were talking about too. Is like Texas played all theirs at the beginning,
I mean, LSU did too.
and then LSU played all theirs at the beginning. But then you have your other teams that are playing them like now. Like that's kind of like I don't know how you allow that scheduling to happen. Like I don't know how you don't say like these are your non-conference games, and then now like you're playing conference the rest of the way.
Because theoretically, with Texas A&M going and playing, it's either New Mexico or New Mexico State. Doesn't really matter which team.
No,
But theoretically, I mean, that's like another bye week.
exactly.
So they're getting a bye week, a full bye week. So that's 2 weeks off. And then New Mexico State, it's like they're getting a 3 week
yeah. So they're getting
rest
a bye,
up, get healthy.
and then they go to Auburn, and then they play Texas.
Yeah.
So
Which Auburn's defensive front isn't bad either.
and it's on the road, so
Yeah, I mean, Texas A&M should win that game, but I bet it's closer than people are going to think.
yeah. I mean, if you can contain Marcel Reed, you definitely have a shot.
I mean, if you contain Jalen Milroe, you have a shot.
Yeah. Well, they didn't.
They didn't even come close. You said earlier, like, Georgia Tech rushed for 271 yards. I think Jalen Milroe rushed for 270 yards,
He might have, dude.
like, and 4 touchdowns. They said the last 8 quarters that Jalen Milroe has played LSU, I think he's rushed for like 500 yards and like 8 touchdowns or 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Rushing.
So even though you know exactly what he's going to do, you're going to let him do it anyway.
Yeah. It's insane.
He ran for 185 yards and 4 touchdowns,
185.
and threw for 109.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just brutal. And he missed 2 touchdowns, like wide open touchdowns, just
Yeah,
over.
so he could have had 6 touchdowns by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Well, I think the ones that he did the ones that he did like overthrow, he like rushed for like a 72-yard touchdown pass, touchdown run right after that.
So you got it anyway.
Yeah. So,
Oh man.
but yeah,
Oh well. Live and learn, right?
I mean,
You don't have a choice, so.
and then to top it all off, freaking Arsenal.
Oh, dude.
God, against Chelsea, they played on Sunday. They took
Dude,
the
just
lead.
can't buy a win right now.
It's crazy, man. Like they did everything they needed to do. Like, yeah.
Well, it was just like it was such a build up. Like there wasn't a lot of.
I mean, they were the better team in my opinion. Like they had better chances.
Absolutely.
They had the ball in the back of the net. Marginal offsides for Havertz
Yeah.
in the first half.
Like, man.
And then the last kick of the game.
Like,
Did you see the last kick of the game?
no, I didn't see it.
Oh, dude. Saliba was on the wing and did a low cross in and literally freaking like Trussard just whiffed on the ball. Like it would have been a tap in goal to win the game.
What?
And then right after it went out, blew the whistle, game over.
Wow.
It was crazy. But yeah, I mean,
Well, it's just tough too because like they finally scored to get the lead, and then it wasn't even 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. They give it right back. Like it was just.
But Odegaard being back, like you could tell the difference. Like they were way more fluid. Like they were playing
100%,
so much better. So definitely a good sign. And again, they've only played 11 games.
Yeah.
Like there's still a lot of games still left to be played. There's 29 games left, 30 games.
Yeah, it's just fighting through whatever slump that they're in right now. Because, dude, I know I texted you yesterday because Man City lost again on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's their 5th straight loss.
Yeah.
So, like, they're not the only ones that are struggling right now. Like,
Liverpool's the only one winning, but an Arsenal's start to the season has been pretty brutal. I think they've gone Manchester City away, Newcastle away, Aston Villa away, Tottenham away, and then they just went to Chelsea away.
Yeah.
So like they have a ton of home games coming up, and if they can kind of get out of this funk, but
Yeah, and you just got to get healthy, too.
that's a big part of
Because,
it.
like, I saw Saka's beat up again, they
Yeah.
said. So, like, it's just.
Oh, but don't worry, he's going off for England for international duty this weekend. So
Okay, good.
so he'll play 2 games, 90 minutes in 2 games, get worn down, and then come back to play for Arsenal. So
Golly, dude.
you just love it. And Odegaard just came back from injury, and he's going back to the Norway national squad. So
Yeah, why not? Just,
yeah,
just.
for meaningless, pointless games. It's not like it's World Cup qualifiers or anything. It's just
No.
literally some made up tournament that they play.
Yeah.
That means absolutely nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you do, but we'll see, man. I mean, eventually, like they have the talent where eventually they'll figure it out. You just hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah, it's just a little slump, I think.
Well, I think
it happens. It
I was gonna say
definitely
it's probably good to have your slumps earlier than later. So
Yeah, because that had been the case. Arsenal come out hot, take the lead in the league, and then down the stretch, whenever they need to stack some wins.
yeah.
I mean, last year they won a lot at the end, but I think they won every game but like 1 or 2, and they ended up losing.
Yeah.
City won literally
That's
every
because they had that bad loss.
Yeah.
It was that they lost
To Villa.
Yeah, to Villa. That's what cost them. So.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a little long season, still 27 games to go. So
For sure.
I know everybody loves to hear our soccer talks too. So.
Yeah. That's what they tune in for, honestly. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people tuning in just to hear me be depressed about LSU. So
Yeah, probably all your Aggie.
Oh, they're
brethren
definitely.
will be jumping on. So
Yeah.
here you
It is what it is.
Yes, sir. But all right, dude, you ready to get into our games?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this week, again, the games are not great.
No.
So we just picked the best of what we got. God, dude, I'm just looking at it. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's not a good slate again. But I think it's tough games to pick, to be honest.
No, I agree. Yeah, because they are some that could go either way. So our first one is actually an improved team as of late. A couple of improved teams. Baylor is a 3-point favorite going to West Virginia.
I'm gonna go with West Virginia here. It's at home. Those hillbillies are freaking nuts. And they were my dark horse.
True.
In the Big 12.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with West Virginia. I know Morgantown gets pretty pretty fired up. They burn couches and stuff over there.
Do
So
they really?
that's their like tradition.
Is that
They-
before or after they do math?
I don't know. Probably during, honestly. But yeah, West Virginia is going to show the Baptist what's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Baylor because I think they're playing Baylor better. And also, dude, I don't even know who the quarterback for West Virginia is anymore. I don't think it's the same guy that started the season. So,
I'd be lying if I knew.
yeah, I think Baylor is playing a little bit better. I could be completely wrong, but it seems like they've been winning some games as of late, and so I think they got a chance to go over there, and coming off a bye. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good one where they're coming in and they'll get a dub. So
Yep. Next game, we got Nebraska at USC. USC are 9-point favorites. Who you rolling with?
you know, man, like I've been rooting for Nebraska all season, but man, neither team is really playing great right now. So I'm gonna take Nebraska. I'm gonna take Nebraska to go on the road, get the win against USC. I just can't trust a Lincoln Riley team right now, dude. Like it just seems like they're so inconsistent. Like I just feel like Nebraska's gonna have a chance to go in there and get the upset. So I'm gonna take Nebraska.
Yeah, talk about a really, really disappointing season for USC. They obviously started out pretty hot, looked really good against LSU, and have just been god awful lately. But Nebraska, they kind of same thing. They started out super hot, looked really good. Raiola looked really, really good, and they've had some pretty bad beatdowns the last few weeks. I'm going to go ahead and roll with the home team just because Nebraska has to travel to the West Coast. I think it's going to be tough with a freshman quarterback to come all the way on the road. And USC on paper, I mean, they have a talented roster, and yeah, I'll just roll with USC.
I think it could be a good game though. Both teams are coming off a bye.
Yeah.
So they'll both have 2 weeks to prepare for each other. So I think it'll be a good one. So our next one is Tulane, 6.5-point favorites going to Navy.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick with the best team in Louisiana. Tulane Green Wave, man.
Best team in Louisiana.
Dude, honestly though, Tulane, if they, because their loss, if they would have beat, I think they lost to Kansas State as their only L. If they beat Kansas State, you're talking about having them in the conversation with Boise State to get that 12th spot.
Yeah, well, they lost back-to-back to Kansas State and Oklahoma.
That's what it was. They lost to
Yeah.
OU as well.
Yeah.
But if they win one of those games, and I believe the OU game ended up not being that close, I don't think.
Well, that was the one that they were like right. I think they were even leading at one
Yeah.
point, and then they end up. Yeah, Oklahoma went on a run like at the end
Yeah.
of the game.
And then the K-State game, I think they had it won, and they ended up losing late. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and go with Tulane. Navy's on a slide, on a pretty big skid. I think Tulane goes into Navy and takes care of business.
Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with Navy. Like, the game that confuses me is that Rice game.
Yeah,
Because, like, they were undefeated. Like, we're talking about, like, them possibly running the table if they beat Notre Dame, and then they get
rolled.
stumped by Notre Dame, and then they go and lose to Rice.
Yeah,
So I just don't really know what kind of team. I mean, they beat South Florida 28-7, but yeah, I think Tulane. I think they're gonna have too much going with that one. I think they're gonna end up winning that one. So,
best team in Louisiana.
yeah, best record at least.
Oh God. Next game, we're gonna go. UCLA is going to Washington, where Washington are 3.5-point favorites.
Man, I'm gonna take Washington here. UCLA's been a massive disappointment, but then they
were your dark horse, right?
they were my Big Ten dark horse, and then they beat Nebraska a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But like they've been playing just mid to low level all year long. Like I just don't see like Washington. They're a way better home team than they are a road team. So I'm gonna take Washington. to
Yeah, I
win that
mean,
one.
you're absolutely right. I'm going to go with UCLA, man. UCLA has been playing a lot better lately. Again, you mentioned they beat Nebraska. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They beat Rutgers, they beat Nebraska, and then they beat Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa's not a great team, but I mean, offensively, like they beat them this weekend. But I'm going to go with UCLA to go up and get the win against Washington. Playing way better football lately. If they wouldn't have been so bad at the beginning of the season, that dark horse pick might not look too bad.
Yeah,
Because that's what they did last year too, man. They went on a run at the end of the season. They played really well towards the end of the season. But no, I'm going to go with the Bruins to get the win at Washington. I don't trust Washington at all.
and that is a Friday game, so make
Oh.
sure you get your pick by Friday on that one. So that'd be a good one.
Good
And then the game of the weekend is Tennessee heading over to Georgia, who is a 9.5-point favorite.
Oh, I don't think Georgia loses back-to-back games.
Is game day there?
I don't know where game day is actually.
I haven't even seen where it's at.
They probably are done after what happened to LSU. They probably just
Taking a
said, "Let's hang it up
break."
for the season. We're just not going to do this again."
Yeah, they are going to
We're
Athens,
cursed by
Georgia.
Omar as well. No, I got Georgia. Again, I still don't trust Carson Beck. I think it's going to be a close game. I think you said it's a 9-point.
9.5. Yeah.
That seems high to me. I think it's going to be a field goal game. But again, I think after a loss, Kirby Smart's going to right the ship, and they're at home. Again, we talked about Georgia's road woes all year. It being at home against Tennessee. Again, a young quarterback in a hostile environment for Tennessee. I think Georgia pulls this one out.
I keep forgetting that the quarterback for Tennessee is a freshman. That's kind of crazy. but-
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he might be a redshirt freshman.
Oh, okay.
I think he was there last year.
so you have Georgia winning, Tennessee cover the spread.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think Georgia wins for sure. Man, I'd almost pick them to cover the spread at this point, just because I think that Tennessee's going to have a hard time, like you said, going into like that kind of environment. I'm assuming it's going to be a night game, which is going to be big.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then coming off a loss like that, Georgia, like Kirby Smart always does a good job of playing that underdog card. So I think that Georgia will take care of business pretty handily. And I think that they'll probably win by at least 10, I would think. So
Again, but though this is like an obvious statement, but if Carson Beck can take care of the football and not turn it over,
yeah,
they should roll. But he hasn't proven to be able to do that.
no, I agree.
And again, if you turn the ball over like he did against Ole Miss, it's hard to overcome those things.
For sure, I think Georgia's defense is going to be the big difference maker, though.
I agreed, but I feel like Tennessee and Ole Miss's offense, they're very comparable.
True.
They have comparable offenses, and you saw what they were able to do to Georgia's defense. And I mean, Tennessee doesn't have a bad defense either.
No, absolutely not.
And so I think it's gonna be close. I don't think the spread. I'm taking if I was betting the game, I would take Tennessee in the points, but I think Georgia wins outright.
apparently, Iamaleava is even like a questionable to play right now.
And I'm sure that's gonna have a pretty heavy bearing on the spread as well.
Yeah, it's already up to 10. So,
Yeah, monitor that
yeah, for sure.
if you're not in the state of Texas, because you can't bet here.
Yeah. Get your prize picks in for Texas.
God, dude, I was talking about it in our prize picks chat, but it's so crazy in
That's
Louisiana.
funny, dude.
I can bet on any game, but I can't play prize picks.
Yeah.
And here in the state of Texas, I can play as much prize picks as I want, but I
Yeah.
can't bet on a game. And make it make sense.
Don't you dare bet money on a game.
So crazy.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, but I mean, if I wanted to, I can spend my entire paycheck at the gas station buying scratch offs though in Texas. So
yeah. Hey, you're supporting public education in that case.
yeah,
dude.
I'm sure all that money is definitely going to public education. It's not going anywhere else. Nope, right into the teachers'
Yeah,
pockets.
what are you trying to say, dude? What are you trying? Are you saying that the government controls where money goes?
I'm saying they're advertising it very shadily.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
Like I'm sure that's the mindset. Like, when you go into a gas station, like you see these old people with their Social Security checks pretty much just being like, "Hey, give me that roll." In the back of their mind, they're probably like, "Man, this is going to a good cause,"
we're gonna get some good teachers out of this one.
Yeah. And I'm gonna win some money.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Everybody wins.
But God forbid you put a $5 on freaking Dolphins money line against the Rams. You can't do it.
You better call the gambling hotline right now.
God, it's crazy.
Oh man. Hey, dude, Spartan race in May. You gonna start training?
Nah,
Come on, dude. It's in Austin.
nah.
Come on, dude.
I'm already a Spartan, dude.
Calling to go.
I'm already a Spartan.
It's Spartan. It'd be good.
What
dude.
is that? What does that entail?
You remember like the Tough
Tough Mudder?
Mudder?
Yeah.
It's like something like that. So like it's like a Spartan race where they have like the sprint and then they have like a mid level and then they have like their marathon or whatever. So I was gonna get a couple of my buddies. I think we're gonna go.
Dude, I run every week for free. Like I'm not gonna pay to go run.
Yeah, dude. It's about the mental aspect of it. So
What about it?
I mean, I don't know. It just sounds
Climb a
cool.
muddy wall?
Yeah. I mean,
Get shocked
go
by some
through a bunch
tasers through some mud.
I don't know if there's any tasers in this one, but
I almost did a Tough Mudder in college, and like I was about to sign up.
yeah. Remember when they did it in Edna?
Until they said they're gonna have a like an army crawl through mud with tasers. once you put tasers in, like I'm out. Like
Yeah,
it's-
dude. What was it? It was
what are
the
you trying to
very-
do?
It was the very end. They had like the string of tasers that you had to go through.
What? Who says yeah? Let's do that.
Hey, a lot of people did. I remember it was in Edna, dude. It was a big deal.
Was it?
It was, yeah. I think it was either high school or college. I remember they had it there. but-
Nah, yeah. You can count me out on that. Also, like, man, working out, I'm starting to get some aches and pains in places like I'm like in my knees and stuff. I'm like, dude, like, I'm not trying to be out for an extended period of time,
Yeah,
getting
dude.
hurt, going through a taser mud-filled pit.
We're still in the prime of our lives, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
We got to hit those Spartan races and run our half marathons. And
Nah, I'm good. I'll just run. My whole motivation for exercising and running and cardio is literally so I can eat whatever the hell I want.
that is true.
That's it.
I want to eat what I want, and I want to be able to keep up with my kids. That's the
Yeah.
that's the biggest two things. So.
For sure. Like Thanksgiving coming up, I've been training all year for Thanksgiving,
Oh yeah, dude.
and
And then you train a little bit harder between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
nah,
No,
it just all runs together, and that started in January.
it's just like one long holiday.
Yeah, it's already started. Patients bring cookies and tamales and all kind of stuff to us, and
Oh,
I just
dude.
absolutely crush it.
Dude, that's the one thing about like schools, dude. Like people are always bringing sweets and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, dude. It's like that's why I'm always on the start tomorrow diet. It's like-
Yeah, and you
I'm like,
can't
I'm
you
gonna start
can't be
tomorrow.
rude.
Yeah, no. You gotta be nice. You accept the gifts, which I do appreciate, by the way. So
Yeah, keep bringing those cookies, dude,
that's right. Keep bringing the cookies
and the tamales, dude. The tamales, I can't say no.
Oh, I love tamales so much, dude.
Dude, some of our patients, they make the best and fattest tamales. Just
Really?
stuff them full. Oh, dude.
Well, the crazy part is
great.
like they always do fundraisers and like there's so many people that make them, and so then like I feel like I'm always buying them, and some of them are really good and some of them are not so good.
Yeah.
but, you know,
Yeah.
you got to take with what you get. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So I think we did it.
Yep. Another one down.
Oh, yeah. It is a Monday night, so tomorrow night the next release of the next football playoff will come out, and then by next weekend I'm sure there'll be even more changes because you never know what's going to happen. This week is probably less likely just because of the slate of games, but it should be a good week. But
Still could happen.
absolutely,
LSU
So,
probably goes and loses to Florida.
yeah, you know why not?
They'll put in some random running back at quarterback.
You can play Texas State in the Armed Forces Bowl in December.
Dude, that might be a possibility, dude.
Texas State Bobcats bowl eligible for the back-to-back
Not
seasons,
yet.
dude. They are. That was 6 wins.
What? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, dude, they're 6-4. They were one of the teams that got bowl eligible.
Did they?
Yeah, dude. I'm
They haven't
saying-
played 10
They're
games.
6-4. Yes,
Nah.
bro. I'm telling you.
They're 5-4.
Oh well, you know.
They got to beat Southern Miss this weekend to be bowl
You
eligible.
got Southern Miss, Georgia State, and South Alabama. If they can't win at least one of those, then well, I don't know. At this point, who knows?
I mean, they lost to Old Dominion, man.
Yeah,
Just
I know. So
brutal.
bad. But anyway.
Yep.
Well, sounds good. Well, we appreciate everybody listening. Another great week. Continue to follow, share, like, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. Keep listening, keep submitting your picks. We appreciate everybody that does that. We will work on getting the updated standings next weekend. I'm sure there's been a lot of changes just because it's been the crazy games over the past few weeks. So So, we're kind of closing into the end. We only got a few more weeks until the end of football season. So,
Yeah, that's on me for not updating it this weekend. I was in no mindset to do that. Especially after traveling and hungover and all that stuff. But I will get on it next weekend. We'll definitely have an updated standings and everything, and kind of update you guys on everything, and probably make a post and send one out
for sure. And we'll probably establish some type of tiebreaker too. So if it does come down to where there's a multiple tie at the end, then we'll have something that we can figure out. So.
It'll probably be like best tamales given to us.
That's right.
Whoever brings us the best tamales.
We'll have a food judging contest for the winner. Not a bad idea, but anyways, but keep listening, keep subscribing, keep watching. We're on every social media: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. We're all over. So keep watching, keep subscribing, and until next time, it's been our pleasure.
See ya.